without saying any more, I'll tell you that subsequent to him stating to us that he needed Congress to call on him to go and do further investigation in that area, the letter was sent from our committee and our chairman requesting that information be developed. So that's going underway right now, and who knows, that may also be part of this Wiener issue that's opened things up again. So, no, our chairman, Chairman Chaffetz, has indicated we will be having further hearings when we get back after November 14th.
Okay, so I can tell you right now, Tim, when I get done with the show here, I am going to blow up the thousands of people that I have on Twitter and try and get that. And a lot of those are people in the New York area. I am going to try my best to see if there's anybody, an inside mole in the NYPD, who's so angry that they can somehow email oversight committee members. I'm assuming that's probably the best way to get a hold of oversight committee people, right? Just email it.
Just make contact with the chairman of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Congressman Chaffetz, or the committee itself. If you want to go directly to the committee staff works for us. They would take that information. We have investigators, attorneys that are investigative attorneys who would be all too delighted to have information that we've been trying to get, subpoena and otherwise, that have been held back from us by the State Department and sadly by the Justice Department as well. So if we had someone who and immunity can be given with anonymity as well,
okay,
to people who would get that to us.
Yeah, because we're seeing that the NYPD is actually being pressured by DOJ not to leak this stuff, and you know, obviously, if the DOJ doesn't like somebody in the NYPD for leaking that, they're going to press charges on them. But they wouldn't be if they were going to the Oversight Committee to leak this information to you guys directly.
And we will handle it appropriately. We will not give away any secrets to the public, but we will not hold back from moving forward on investigations as well as hearings that will bring to light things that have been hidden from us.
Right.
We would love to have that. That's what we attempted with Fast and Furious, and that's why Attorney General Holder ultimately had to resign, because we held him in contempt of Congress because he would not provide us information we, by law, are legally to be granted. And that it's been dragging feet, stonewalling, prevaricating, and all of the rest that have gone on for 8 years, and it just has to end. And that's why people cannot put status quo back in, and that's Hillary Clinton. We need a new way forward.
Yeah, Tim, hypothetically, imagine the fact that on Wednesday morning we wake up and Hillary Clinton by whatever percent beats Donald Trump. It is now the president-elect for the United States of America, going to be sworn into office in January of 2017, and is under a possible indictment before she's even sworn in. What does that do for us in a constitutional crisis like that? What will that do to our government for the next 4 years?
Well, it's terrible, and let's not countenance that. Let's win, and I really think we can, and that's why you see the other side so intent on coming here to Michigan, coming to Ohio, North Carolina. It is razor thin right now. We can win this. We can win it in Michigan. And if Michigan and Ohio go, doggone it, I think there are other states, including Pennsylvania, North Carolina, that could go with us as well as Florida. And if that's the case, it could win. There is also a scenario where both of them end up razor thin close with 269 apiece of electoral votes. Then it goes to the U.S. House. And aren't you glad it's a Republican House right now?
Yeah, absolutely. When I saw that come up, that option came up the other day when I was watching the news, and I thought, oh, my gosh, it's a good thing. But, Tim, so let's think positive. We get a Trump-elected president, and we maintain our Senate majority, we maintain our House majority, and we now have to tackle the immigration thing. I want you to listen to this real quick. Derek, you got track 7? And this is pertaining to anchor babies, and what can we do about it? Listen to this.
Moms in the United States illegally gave birth to 250,000 babies in 2014, enough birthright U.S. citizens to fill a city the size of Orlando, Florida, according to an analysis of data from the National Center for Health Statistics. The data showed that newborns to illegals accounted for 7% of all births in 2014, according to the analysis from the Pew Research Center.
Tim, would there be enough energy or motivation in Congress to tackle the anchor baby issue?
Depends on who's elected and what type of majorities you have. Plus, what President Trump, if we're talking that scenario, would be willing to do at that time. I think I've been on your show at times in the past. We've talked about this idea of anchor babies. The 14th Amendment, which they will refer to, was not intended for anchor babies. It was for freeborn slaves.
Yes.
So the question comes up, even if that fits, even if they should be considered an American citizen simply because they were born here. And that will be a debate that ought to come up in looking at what the intent was in the Constitution and how we've assumed it to be the case. And they say, well, the courts have decided. Well, so what? The courts have no greater jurisdiction on the Constitution or responsibility of the Constitution than a member of Congress. We uphold the Constitution as well. And I think we've given too much power to the courts where they can write their own laws without being elected as a legislator to deal with the laws.
Yeah, they're legislating from the bench. We see it all the time now.
Congress says what the law is, and Congress says from the beginning what the Constitution is. And then since that, with the amendments, people with the members of Congress have said what the Constitution is. But we've allowed the whole mindset to come through that the Supreme Court justice has the most say about the Constitution. That's not right. The only reason they've had that is because members of Congress, without the numbers necessary, have been unwilling to stand up and discipline courts in this land, including, as we read about the Article 3 powers, such times as Congress deems necessary, they may establish certain inferior federal courts. That means we don't have to have those inferior federal courts. We can abolish some of those as well. And we also have the responsibility to discipline the Supreme Court justice that goes off the reservation and violates their oath of office to uphold the Constitution as well. So that's where that debate comes. But sadly, for too long, we have relinquished our responsibility in two ways, either by the numbers in Congress who understand this, or just simply minority problem that keeps us from upholding our oath of office. And I don't want to be part of that.
Right.
I'd love to be part of a process of saying, wait a second, we're going to restrain the courts if necessary in the right way. I'm not saying go off the reservation ourselves.
Right.
But let's uphold the Constitution.
Okay. Well, Tim, listen, I don't know if you heard the beginning of the hour, Monday and Tuesday, 9 to 11, we've got Wham staff in here live. If you can call back in again, that would be great. And if you could get Mike Bishop and Trot to call in to the show as well, that would be wonderful if you would do that favor for me.
We will do that. I will put the call out to them and give them the opportunity. That's 9 to 11 on Monday and Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Take care.
You have a great day.
You too. And until next week, go to thedailydrift.com.